I've got the spores, the sickness, SD twins in my brain.
The bill will be made after Liège-Bastogne Liège. Those are the words we've heard Patrick Lefevre say for many years when being asked to assess the spring campaign of his team. Well, Liège-Bastogne Liège was last Sunday, so it's time to make the bill. I won't be doing this alone, however. I'm joined again by Ethan. Hey mate, are you well rested this time around?
Kind of, yeah, but still a bit tired. Been doing a lot of work, so yeah.
All right. Well, for those who don't know, Ethan was supposed to be there for the Liège preview before the weekend, but he woke up just as we were wrapping up the recording. So I'm very happy that you could make this one, mate. And I've heard that you actually got a new blog article out. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
That's coming out tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. It's the second part of the Coolset Chronicles with Johannes Coolset. He obviously raced in this race we're going to talk about, Liège-Bastogne Liège. We review all of his training so far, his progress this season, and go further in depth about cycling in general. So yeah, make sure you give it a read on the Domestique blog.
So I'm guessing you have a lot of inside info from this race.
Yeah, he has some strong opinions about the race, and yeah, he was in some super nice form, but obviously the crash with 99 kilometers to go detrimented him.
Yeah, I think that broke the race for a lot of people. But let's start at the beginning. It's the oldest of the classics, and it was a bitterly cold day with its traditional 11 classified climbs. Although there are a lot more climbs than those 11. We had quite quickly a 9-rider breakaway. I'm just gonna run off those names because I think they're honestly it was a very strong breakaway. Gelders, Rojas, Leinze, Scaroni, Calmejean, Romeo, Ursulin, Dubé, and Vliegen. Honestly, if I heard that was the break, I would say, okay, they can go long. But as we're going to find out, they didn't. I think the big first racing event was the crash that you just already mentioned at 99 Ks to go. Basically, the first third of the peloton got through, and then everyone else didn't. Among the guys who didn't get through, some pretty big names, Pidcock and Van der Poel among them. Was that bad positioning from their part, or is it just bad luck?
Bad positioning and not bad luck at all. It was silly to be there in the first place because, for example, they should be looking at it in like the team bus before the thing. Like it was a massive choke point. You could clearly see it. The roads are so narrow. And then to go back all the way to the back of the peloton there, he nearly got caught out in another one before, where I think, who was the rider who went over the handlebars around 5 kilometers before? You've seen, yeah, but he was right near the back as well at that. So we nearly got messed up in that as well. So
yeah, I think Van der Poel was there to hand over his leg warmers or something.
Yeah.
Like he went back to the car. Honestly, I think in the broadcast it was also said, why don't you just give this to a teammate and let them do it? Because going to the back as you're
too much of a risk.
Yeah, but I think that's always something with Van der Poel. He's a very relaxed guy, but he can sometimes be a little bit too relaxed and just sit at the back for too long, and well, then you get these issues. In the end, it didn't cost him the race, I think, but for a lot of other guys, they were not able to come back anymore. There was one significant part of that crash as well that I do want to talk about. Afterwards, Israel Premier Tech started really pacing in the peloton, which was a really weird move. They were already at the front of the peloton when the crash happened, but as it happened and they likely heard who was caught behind, suddenly, and I think it was Derek G at the front of the peloton, basically got the order, go, and ride as hard as you can. What are your thoughts on that?
Is it like ethically right? No, but like in terms of taking the situation as it is, you probably take it, don't you? Let's be honest. You're going against Pogačar and Van der Poel. I mean, if the opportunity is there to do something, try it. But many people obviously don't agree with it. It's like a Grand Tours kind of thing where the yellow jersey goes down, you don't ride. But I talked with Johannes obviously about that, and he was very, very angry about he just called them Premier Tech in his Strava thing, and I don't know what the translation was, but it didn't look happy. Yeah.
No, I can imagine. Like he was also caught behind the crash.
Yeah, you seen he was just ex-rider. He goes down, not down, but like he's caught up in it, and he just picks up his bike like cyclocross style and just jumps over everyone basically at the front, which is kind of cool.
All right. I think you could argue that Israel Premier Tech, that was their plan already to start pacing there. They were heading for the Côte de One with I think the what's the name of the next climb? The Rosier, or that comes a little bit later. Whatever. There were some very significant climbs coming right up, so it could just been their plan to pace in that section. But with a crash that just takes out that significant of a part of the peloton, should they have changed their plan?
Yes, in my opinion, but what's your opinion on that? It's like 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was personally fine to do it. I do hope that they didn't do it just because they heard the names of the guys caught behind. I'll just list a little bit more of the bigger names. It wasn't just Pidcock and Van der Poel. It was also Vlasov, Madoua, Grégoire, Van Zevenand, Valter. Those are all names you expect to fight for top tens. I really hope that they didn't make the call to chase or to start pulling hard just because they heard those names. And that was just a tactical plan from the start.
No, just after that crash as well, you seen that group when he came back. I seen like a meme on X where some guy was saying that Groupama had an 8th rider and it was called Team Car. And you could just see the Groupama car was literally just drafting the entire group back. It is. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it is quite incredible what he did there.
Yeah, I mean, and also, of course, before that, you had Pidcock together with Van Zevenand. I think Tiberi was also there, attacking on Stokke to try and bridge that gap, and basically burning their matches to try and get back to the front. And then basically right behind them was the team car of that team, and they dragged everyone who was behind them back. So I saw an interview with Pidcock who was very much not happy about that either.
I'm pretty sure that it was like in front of the flipping commissaire as well, which I don't know if what the commissaire was looking at. Maybe just looked away, but
yeah, I think that team car, maybe deserves a little penalty. But who are we to say that? Of course, once that happens, everything's kind of back together. And we see basically continuation of the UAE tactic, which we also saw at Milan-San Remo, pace the hell out of every climb, and then once they've crested it, disappear and let other teams do it, but put as much fatigue as possible within the legs of the non-climbers, and honestly, but at the pace they were riding, of the climbers themselves as well. All that to prepare the attack that we all knew was coming. Then we get to the Côte de la Redoute. At what point of La Redoute did you expect Pogačar to go?
Genuinely right where he did it, because the guy is just, you couldn't do anything against him. It's like watching just the best of the best of the best. To go from there is.
I mean, I think in the last 10 to 15 years, we have basically never seen a winning move from that far down La Redoute. I think in the last 2 years with Remco, it was basically over the top in the last 300 to 400 meters. But basically, Novak just set it up from the bottom, and he does a 300 meter pull, and then Pogačar goes not even halfway up the climb.
Literally Concord, just say supersonic goodbye, and then he just looks behind saying goodbye everyone.
I mean, that is an iconic moment for me for this spring as well. You do have Carapaz, who actually was not far off.
Just millimeters, not millimeters, but very close. And then just went
Yeah.
poof.
I think sort of the Skelmos also said this when he tried to follow. Well, basically that finished his race, because trying to follow basically means the end of your race. Because that means that you're not going to be able to follow anything else. They blew up.
Skelmos has been, in my opinion, maybe talking a bit too confident in his interviews before the race. So yeah, I don't know. Should maybe keep it a bit controlled before the race, because he's giving himself too much expectations.
But maybe that's what he needs. I think I do like riders who are confident. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a Remco fan, of course. But Skelmos, if you look at what he did in Paris-Nice and last year as well, I think he has the right to be confident.
No.
I think he probably should have tempered that confidence a little bit after what happened in Flesh.
Yeah.
He had a very good excuse of having had hypothermia. He could have just said, well, we'll see how it goes. But no, he just said, I'm going to be up there. I feel great.
Yeah. Crazy. And what's your thoughts on if Remco was doing the race there? Do you think he would have been able to keep up or not?
Yes. I'm quite confident in thinking that he would be on the wheel. If anyone can follow Pogačar up Redoute, well, there's two people. There's Vingegaard and there's Remco.
I know that. I don't even think Vingegaard would. Not in terms of that type.
Maybe
of
not for the acceleration, but
yeah.
I think he would. Like, the gap would not be huge, and then he'd be able to TT his way back on.
Yeah, makes sense.
But Remco would be able to be on his wheel, I think. And people who disagree with me, write it in the comments. I'll look at them. But
then if he went all the way to that line, he would win Pogačar, obviously. But would he? Obviously
I don't know about that.
Remco's sprint is improving, in my opinion, quite a bit. You've seen it last year. Where was it? Was it San Sebastian?
Yeah, San Sebastian.
Yeah, his sprint there was very good.
I mean, there's been a couple of, I think also the Belgian Championships. You probably didn't see that race.
Yeah,
but
I think I actually did see that. Yeah, I seen that highlight of his sprint there.
Just a two-way sprint.
Getting better, hasn't it?
As well, like always the little sprints for the bonification seconds. I think he's sort of becoming that person who always goes for them.
He's packing a real punch, I think, as well.
Yeah, so I'm quite confident he'd be able to be on the wheel. And then what happens, I don't know.
And then we've seen today, there was an article. They're considering him for the 2025 Ronde van Vlaanderen Remco, which is.
Yeah, and Milan-San Remo. I think Milan-San Remo is going to be really interesting as well. Because
I think he'd win both.
I think
it depends who goes. It depends who goes, isn't it? I think. But.
Yeah, but I think the effort that you need for the Poggio, I think it's kind of perfect for Remco, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And then Ronde, I really need to see him ride cobbled races more to be able to know, because like the twisty turny circuits, maybe not, but we'll see. I really do want to see him at those races. Anyway, we're talking about a rider who's not even at these races, but well, we were promised a Remco versus Pogačar duel at the start of the season, so I guess that makes sense. So behind the superhuman, we get a group of four with Healy and three Frenchmen, among them Bardet. Healy does. I think he basically empties himself trying to actually close that gap. Mm-hmm. I think quite unwisely. It was already a minute at that point. And he keeps on attacking. Like, I think he blows himself up. Yeah. And then when Bardet goes, nobody has an answer, and Bardet is able to ride pretty easily to second place. But I do also want to call out a little bit of an attack by Egan Bernal on the Roger Faucon. Did you see that attack?
Yeah, it was very nice to see. It's like a perfect movie, isn't it? If Egan Bernal comes all the way back after everything he's faced. He is back, let's be honest, I think. So yeah, it's like perfect storyline. Nice to see him always. He seemed like such a positive guy as well, you know.
It's a Hollywood story in the making. An interview afterwards, he did also say that he's been riding better numbers than before his crash. So he's basically already at a higher level than before his crash, but the sport has evolved
Changed
so much that, well, he needs to keep improving even beyond what his level used to be, that he used to win the Tour, which is kind of incredible if you think about it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think also a lot of riders at the finish line just said, well, Pogačar is just a level above everyone else. There's nothing to do. Do you think that's going to create a bit of a mental crack for riders, or is that already just a thought in their head, like, okay, we're riding for second place if Pogačar is here?
No, I actually think, yeah, it does actually imply a mental strain on you. After speaking with Johannes, he said, what is it? I'm just going full gas, full gas, full gas. And he's like just there breathing through his nose, doing no effort. And it's like he wants to strive to get to that level, which is nice to see. But it's like, for example, you're doing La Marmot, yeah, and if you see a guy that's next to you when you're on the climb going full gas, basically Eves. If he's going full gas and then you're like just cruising, you're obviously going to be impacted a bit, aren't you? I think everyone would.
Yeah, I do think that just the mental aspect of it cannot be underestimated. Yeah, I do also want to say it's incredible to see Pogačar do these things. Like, a lot of people will call this boring. It's boring racing because you basically know who's going to win.
Yeah.
But I said it as well last week about Van der Poel in the Flemish Classics. You know, you gotta admire the master at work. You have that with Van der Poel in Flemish Classics. You have that with Pogačar here. It's very sad that we don't get to see the duels that we were promised for all these monuments. But it is what it is, and, well, we just gotta admire it, I think.
Yeah, you have to admire it. You can't really call it boring because it isn't boring. It's like spectacular occasions, you know?
Definitely. Let's also talk a little bit about the women's race. I think, well, it's quite easy to sum up. There is a breakaway that goes very long with Sara Gigante actually doing a lot of it solo first and then being joined by a group. Honestly, very impressive ride by the young Australian. Then a group with some of the main favorites, Nibia Doma, Longo Borghini, and Vollering bridge over. No Kopecky. I think the race was a little bit too hard for her. Even though at our preview we said we expected her to be there, but nope, it was Vollering for SD Worx. And then, yeah, did you see the sprint or?
Yeah, I've seen the sprint. Women's cycling is much more entertaining than the men's right now for a lot of people, isn't it? So crazy sprint.
You basically have Nibia Doma going from super long and basically leading it out for Longo Borghini, who then takes it up with Vollering completely at the back, 6th position. And Kim Canso, I think, in 3rd, needing to close a gap until Longo Borghini not being able to, and then Grace Brown needs to come out of her wheel. And I think Grace Brown rides the sprint of her life. Honestly, the speed at which she came and the gap that she had to close to get up and over Longo Borghini, it's absolutely insane. And then also a little bit of a mess up from Demi Vollering to just sit there in 6th with 300 meters to go and not even attempting to close that gap because Kim Canso was cooked at that point. She had been in the break. Well, so had Grace Brown, of course. I think Grace Brown, biggest win of her career, obviously. But also, I do want to call out a very strong performance from Kim Katso. She was one of our young wolves from last year. What do you think she can do in the future? Because honestly, this was a really good performance, but she's not winning races yet. But where do you think she can win a race?
Well, if you keep putting in performances, and especially in races like Liège-Bastogne Liège, she can probably win Amstel Gold. Probably, if you keep putting performances in like that. That's it.
Yeah, she is still very young.
Yeah.
I think she's 21 or 22. So doing that at that age, it's
Only
a promise for
positive,
the
isn't
future.
it?
Yeah. All right. Do you want to say anything else about the women's race?
I'm just saying that it's better than the men's at the minute. A lot of them are. So more entertaining.
That is very true, and kind of leads us into a spring review, because of course spring is now over. I don't know if you've seen it. The weather in Belgium, is it the same in the UK? Basically, we're back in winter.
Yeah, it's like it's been like sunny grey.
Well,
but Belgian weather is crazy. Oof.
It is time to review the spring, and as you said, pretty much all of the women's races have been a lot more entertaining than the men's races. What has been your favorite race?
Listen, I can't pick. Ronde van Vlaanderen, there we go. Because of the pure chaos what happened in the race and also being there, which was crazy. So I'm going to be biased and say that. But mostly Ghent-Wevelgem, probably.
Yeah, good ones.
How about you?
I think I'll actually, maybe this is a weird one, but I really liked Dwars door Vlaanderen this year.
Yeah, that one as well.
With Jorgensen. With Van der Poel not being there and the other big names crashing out, it sort of became a very unpredictable race. There was a lot of attacking back and forth. I think there were like 20 attacks. Bettiol exploding on Nokere, or after Nokere Berg, like that race. Yeah, that race just sticks in my head for now. And of course you have Ghent-Wevelgem and the Ronde being really epic.
The Ronde just in terms of the stupidity, really, on the Koppenberg.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, okay, the race is decided in basically one moment because it's slippery. And for that reason alone, it can't be my favorite race of the season. But
like, it's just meme potential, isn't it, of what happened? I don't think when are you going to see that again? I don't know when you would see that again.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick my favorite race because of the meme potential.
Yeah, I was choosing for that. But no, E3 maybe.
That was also a really good one. But yeah,
Omloop.
I think just in general, the Flemish classics have been really awesome. I think this year, I think we can say we've been treated to a really nice year. It has been a very dominant year for Van der Poel. Results wise, yeah, that's just what it is. But in general, it's been a really great spring.
It has, and then also people will say Liège-Bastogne Liège is the most boring. Yeah, I've seen that yesterday on X. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? Most boring and
the most boring race? I mean,
maybe
I understand the argument for Liège because everything was basically going to get decided on the Redoute, and Pogačar doesn't even wait a minute and decides the race. So yes, I understand that. I still have an axe to grind with Milan-San Remo, and I will have this every year until someone goes on La Cipressa, that it is just a dull race. And
but the ending is just
sure, you have 5 minutes of craziness, and then but you're sitting there for 6 hours waiting for it. And yeah, no, I just don't like that race. I don't think I ever will. Please, Pogačar, next year go into Pressa and take Remco with you if you want. Then you can duke it out on Poggio with the two of you.
Kerner versus Kerner. Wasn't Hannes saying that was his favourite?
I think he was joking, mate.
Was he? Oh,
I think he was.
I can't remember what happened in Kerner versus Kerner.
I mean, it was what? Who won it? With Lascano and Pithy, and there was someone else there.
It goes by too quick to remember it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked about races now, I think. But what is your favorite moment of the Spring Classics? Maybe I'll go first, and then you can think about it.
I've already got it. X getting 4 people in the top 30 in Paris-Roubaix. There you go. Someone Warren showed P9. Obviously, I'm biased. So
yeah, you're extremely biased, but that's okay. Honestly, that was for a team like that, stellar performance. I also did not expect it, but Weidenschuld is kind of built for that race. He's a unit.
He's a bloody unit. He's like a tower. He's massive.
So no surprise for him there, but like the rest of the team, just all around really well done. Definitely deserves that promotion, I think. But
as well, as in seriously, I think probably the Flesh Wallone in terms of the whole race. I think I have to give it as a moment, because that is it's like a battle royale basically.
Yeah, I hate, like, I kind of hate watching it because it's so hard to watch people suffer so much. Yeah. But it is absolutely brutal and beautiful at the same time. I think my moment is the attack from Pogačar at Strade from 80 Ks out, where you just go, he's not serious, is he? Like, he's gonna sit up, right?
I remember doing the live for you. So I was doing the interview, and I said, I'm going to attack. He said he was literally going to attack right there in the thing, and he did it. And crazy.
No, but I was like, 80 Ks to go. Come on, like, you're gonna sit up and wait for some people to come to you, right? No,
and this one, boop, training ride basically.
Yeah, it was just such a, like, I knew we all know that he's a special rider and he can do stupid stuff and stupidly amazing stuff. But going with 80 Ks to go and Strade.
Would that then, I think, inspired like Van der Poel and stuff to try and just be as ballsy?
No, I don't think they inspire each other in that way.
They Vingegaard maybe.
But you think they're like DMing each other, like, go on.
Yeah, Vingegaard wanted to show off as well with what he did in Tirreno when he went solo, I think.
Yeah, like that. There's mental games between those guys that they're just like, okay, you did that.
There must be at least a little bit.
Well, maybe we'll have to find out. We'll get Pogačar on the podcast and ask.
Then he says yes. It'll be quite funny.
Let's find out. What has been the most dominant team of the spring for you?
I was saying Lidl-Trek before Paris-Roubaix, then I turned into a massive hater. It was what he did.
That's fair.
Team Visma Lisa Bike have not had a good one. Obviously, the circumstances this year were very unfortunate. But I have to say Alpecin, don't I?
I have to agree. I think Alpecin-Deceuninck has had a dream spring with, they won the first 3 monuments of the year. That's incredible. And of course, with Van der Poel, they're also on the podium of the 4th. I think they can't ask for more. And also just the performances they put in as a team. It's absolutely incredible.
They took the circumstances in an insane way. And Team Visma Lisa Bike, if they didn't have the bad circumstances, would Wout have maybe won Any of them, I don't know, bro.
I don't think we'll ever know this year.
It's very sad. Very sad.
Yeah, but there's still next year. What has been the biggest disappointing team for you? Not to be too negative in this podcast, but
Oh, this is a test. No. Sudal quick step.
I think
Because
that's fair
it's
answer.
going to be everyone is probably going to say the exact same because you see Sudal quick step as a classics team. You know, you want to see them actually do something. And big Patrick Lefevre, will he be raging? Probably yes. But it's obviously you play one card or play the other, don't you? For Remco, so
Maybe that's why they're already talking about bringing Remco next year.
it must be panicking. Must be panicking.
Yeah, but also bring Remco next year to the Ronde and Milan-San Remo just makes a lot of sense.
Who is your worst performing?
Maybe it's a little too critical, but I was going to say Lotto Destiny. I think with the team they've had, and of course there's been bad luck as well. But yeah, like you've had Van Gils who kind of saved it in the Ardennes part.
Yeah.
And in Strada, but like the rest of the team, and I guess it's mainly with delete. No, I'm gonna take Lotto Destiny back. Yeah, it's unfair. They've actually had a good second part of the spring.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Lidl-Trek.
Lidl-Trek.
No, they've won races. They've done well. They've fucked up tactically many times, but
they could have definitely have won Paris-Roubaix. But
I think I'll join you with Soudal Quickstep.
Yeah, it's got to be Soudal. Groupama. No, Groupama was kind of at the start. You can't really pick. The biggest surprise as well, like a up and coming talent who you like.
Has to be Lawrence Pithy, right?
Yeah,
has to be.
Yeah, it has to be. Romain Gregoire for like the Ardennes, I think.
I think
Romain Gregoire.
Yeah.
I think he'll be. He's in the future. I think he could win Liège-Bastogne Liège. Definitely, the flesh will on because he can flip and sprint. That guy. He has a flipping power.
Yeah, with Flesh, I believe in it a lot more. With Liège, yeah, I mean, I can see it happening, but it's really gonna depend on his evolution. Like right now, I'm not seeing it. Whereas with Lawrence Pithy, I could kind of already see it happening in a couple races. Like not Paris-Roubaix straight away because you do have a Van der Poel there. But yeah, he's just been like basically in all the Flemish races, he's been there. And just makes that consistency at that age is super impressive.
And then also, Abrahamson as well. I'm going to be.
Oh yeah.
I have to say Abrahamson. After interviewing him and chatting with him, he's such a nice guy, and the way he's built his muscle is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, especially at his age already, being able to make that transformation, kind of going from kind of an unknown rider, like being quite anonymous in the peloton, or at least that's kind of what he was to me, to just, like the broadcasters are now talking about him and like calling him one of the surprises of the season. So that's a massive turnaround.
Yeah, definitely.
I do want to go back a little bit. One
specific rider, though.
Go ahead.
I want to say one more thing. Who is the most disappointing rider? Like one sole rider. Be controversial.
Can I be controversial?
Yeah.
Demi Vollering.
I think many people are gonna start going boo boo. But then, for the men's, who do you think as well?
For the men's, I really don't know. I think everyone's sort of shown their worth. Maybe, but I think he's also been overhyped a little bit. Yes, he's a beast with the watts. Yeah. But give the guy some time,
Yeah.
He needs to get to know the terrain here as well. Like you don't just, well, most mortals don't just come to Flanders and ride really great straight away. You need to get a little bit of feel for the terrain. So sure, I can agree with that pick, but also do think it's very harsh. And honestly, just saying about any rider that they're a disappointment is always going to be harsh because there's always some circumstance that causes it.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe I do want to defend my my Vollering pick a little bit because it was kind of out of nowhere. I just think that with the results she's had last year compared to this year, I think she herself will be super disappointed not being able to win a race and coming very close in a lot of cases. So if it was any other rider, that would be a great season. But just because it's Vollering, it's kind of a disappointing season. And I don't think she will disagree with that. Or I hope not.
You hope not.
Indeed. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing really, other than the cycling season is ticking, insanely quick. It's gone insanely quick.
Definitely. We already have Romandy coming up. Then after that, we have the Giro special. Let's actually talk about that next time. I'll wrap up this Domestique Cycling podcast. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, or give us a comment and subscribe. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Adios.
I've got the spores, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.